What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Let Go, Let God podcast. I'm your host, Erika Ray, and I am so excited that you came back for week 3, or maybe it's your first time here. If it's your first time here, welcome. We are in a series where we're going over top leaders in the Bible, and we are on week 3. And this week we are going over the leader David. So, I'm really looking forward to getting into David's story. But first, I'll share some weekly updates because one of my other goals has been to share more of what's going on in my personal life. To be honest, I don't have that much going on. I work, I hang out with my friends, I have a small group. I spend a lot of time hanging out with my friends and prioritizing those relationships, which is really fun. I love doing that. It fills me up. And right now, I'm trying to be very resourceful with money too, so I'm not really doing a lot. Also, they're doing work outside right now at my apartment. And so I'm sorry if there's background noise. I feel like they're always working, but the apartment looks really good. So I guess I have to hand it to them because they're always putting in work in the apartment complex. So they do a really good job. And the maintenance here is like amazing. You put in a request and then 30 minutes later, they're like on it. It's really nice. Anyways, so I want to just continue to share some weekly updates. Again, there's nothing big and crazy and major that's going on in my life. As many of you know, the biggest thing is that I'm planning a wedding and that is happening in December. So that has been consuming a good chunk of my time. But other than that, just prepping for the holidays. I love the holidays. I can't believe it's already the end of October, basically, which is crazy, but Thanksgiving's going to be fun. Me and Caden are going to New Mexico, which is where his family's from. We're going to go spend Thanksgiving over there, and then we'll be here for Christmas, and then right after Christmas will be our wedding. So lots of fun festivities, and then we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna do another little honeymoon. We already went to San Diego, but we want to do another trip after our wedding. And then I always love doing something fun for New Year's, like nothing crazy, but anytime there's a reason to celebrate, why not? Why would you not do it? It's so fun. And I feel like God gives us the holidays and special occasions like birthdays and all of those things because He wants us to find joy and celebration in life. So, anyways, my birthday was a couple days ago, and so I decided to take the day off of work, and me and Caden woke up and we I opened the presents that he got me in bed. We started this on his birthday. I was so excited to give him his gifts. So right when I woke up, I was like, "Do you want to open your presents?" And so then we did that for my birthday, and I'm like, "Okay, I think this is going to be a tradition to where first thing we do on our birthdays right when we wake up is open our presents." I think that's so fun. And then Caden made me some breakfast. He made pancakes, eggs, and sausage, which is like one of our staples. I literally eat it like every morning. And then we watched one of our shows, and then we went to the gym, and then we came back, chilled for a little bit. I went to this head spa for the first time. It was so cool. It was this place where you go, they take a picture of your scalp, they see how it's doing, if it's dry, if it's dandruffy, what it needs basically, and then they take you back into like a massage room, and then they just massage your head for like 30 minutes and put all these good oils in it and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, my hair is so soft. It was so nice. I'm like, I want it to stay like this all the time. And they give you a little drink afterwards too. I got a little pumpkin chai drink. It was so good. So the spa was really fun, and then we came back, and Kaden had to go to a shift at school. So he was gone for a bit, and then I was here. And then when he came back home, we did face masks, which surprisingly he liked them more than I did. I mean, I love them, but I was like, we're doing this. And he asked me this morning, "Oh my gosh, my face looks so good. Can we do this again soon?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we ended the night doing that and watching another one of our shows. So I realized that since I've been married, I didn't, I feel like I didn't watch as much TV, but it's way more fun to watch a show with somebody else because then you can talk about it and stuff. So that's always kind of like how we love to end our night is with a good show. And sometimes we don't get to it because we're really busy, but that's okay. It's not a high priority on our list. It's just something fun that we get to look forward to. But, anyways, that was fun. And then we are going to dinner tonight. I'm not sure where we're going yet, so I'll have to update you guys next week. But we're going to dinner, and then we have some birthday festivities this week. I have a friend's birthday tomorrow and a friend's bridal shower tomorrow. And then me and my two brothers, as I mentioned last time, we're all born in October, so we're doing a family celebration this weekend as well. So lots of fun things. I just love filling up my calendar with things with other people. It really just fills me up. So anyways, that is my update from this week. And so we'll go ahead and get into talking about the story of David. Again, I have my notes down here because truthfully, I cannot just speak about this off the top of my head. I mean, I could tell you the story of David off the top of my head, but I want to get into a little bit more specific details and I will forget them if I don't have my notes. So let's get into it. We are going to be talking and focusing on 1 Samuel 17. So this is a great chapter to read if you have not read it, or if you have read it after you listen to this, go and read it again. Hopefully it'll kind of connect the dots. But the context is talking about David and Goliath, which I'm sure even if you haven't read the story, you've heard of David and Goliath. David was a shepherd boy and Goliath was a giant. And David defeated Goliath. Oh my gosh, they're starting to go off outside. I think they're getting rid of some weeds or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, we'll be talking about the story of David and Goliath. David was a young shepherd boy. Goliath was a giant. David defeated Goliath. So we'll get into the whole story of what happened, how that happened, and what happened after that, basically. So just to give you some context, David was the youngest son, and his father's name was Jesse, just to kind of pinpoint some different genealogies, I guess, if you're kind of like, where did David come from? And he was a shepherd boy turned king. He was also known as a man after God's own heart. You've probably heard this before. If you haven't, that was really what he was known for. Everyone called him a man after God's own heart, which is so sweet. And I think we should all strive to be a man or a woman after God's own heart. And some of his key traits were courage, repentance, worship, and leadership. So let's get started on the story. So there was a Philistine champion named Goliath. And for reference, Goliath was 9 feet tall. I know somebody who is almost 7 feet tall, and that's really tall. I'm 5'6", and so when I'm standing next to them, I'm like, whoa. So I can't even imagine another 2 feet on me. That would be crazy. So he was 9 feet tall, and he was taunting the Israelites to come and fight him. He said, I want one of you to come and to fight me. And he said that if one of the Israelites could defeat him in a fight, then all the Philistines would become slaves to them. And Goliath went back and forth of the Israelite army for 40 days, morning and evening. And I was wondering why he did this. Why was he just going back and forth taunting them for 40 days? That's a long time. Wouldn't you get tired of yourself? I would be like, okay, I'm over this. It's not working. So I was curious. So I kind of looked it up because I wanted to know why he was doing that. So the Israelites and the Philistines were camped on opposite sides of a valley. And up the steep cliffs would be a disadvantage at the beginning of the battle. So no one wanted to go first. So that's why he continuously taunted them, because he was like, I don't want to go first. I'm going to let them come. So moving on. David told Saul, and for reference, Saul was the first king of Israel. So David told Saul, he said, "Don't worry about this Philistine. I'll go fight him." And Saul was like, "Yeah, right. There's no way you're going to defeat you, little shepherd boy. There's no way you're going to defeat this giant Goliath." So David mentioned how he's been caring for the sheep, and whenever a lion or a bear would come, he would go after the lion or bear with a club, and he would always rescue the lamb. So he mentioned how he was always able to do this. And so he said, "Hey, if I can protect my sheep, I can take on this giant." And after some convincing, Saul gave David his own armor. He said, "Okay, here's my bronze helmet and a coat of mail," which I had to look up what a coat of mail was, and it is a long shirt made of interlinked metal rings. And mind you, Goliath had his own bronze helmet and coat of mail. And then he also had bronze leg armor and carried a bronze javelin on his shoulder. So he was not only massive, but also had basically all of this protection on his body. So he would have seemed indestructible to the human eye based on his size and what he was wearing. So David took the armor that Saul had given him and he put it on, and he thought, "You know what? This doesn't feel right. I don't like the way this feels. I can't do this." I don't know if you guys have ever pictured having this perfect outfit and then you go put it on and it's not it. You're like, "This doesn't look good on me. I don't feel confident in this." I imagine that's how David felt putting on this armor, because he wasn't used to wearing all this armor. Whenever I put on fancier clothes, I always have to get used to it because I'm not used to wearing that. I'm always in comfy clothes. I'm literally in a t-shirt and sweatpants. I I'm not wearing fancy clothes all the time, so it takes me a little bit to kind of get used to it, and it's not what I feel most confident in. And so he said, "You know what? Forget this." He took it off, and then he grabbed 5 smooth stones from a stream, and he was like, "I'm going to use these." He grabbed his shepherd's staff and sling, and he kind of took off. Goliath started moving closer, and David ran out to meet him. David reached into his shepherd's bag and grabbed a stone and hurled it with his sling and hit Goliath right in the forehead. A little tiny stone right in his forehead on this big 9-foot man. The stone sank into Goliath's forehead and he fell face down on the ground. So David goes over and pulls Goliath's sword from him, kills him with the sword, and then cuts off his head. So after that, the Philistines were just looking at this and they started running away because they were like, "What the heck just happened? We don't want any part of this. We're scared. We're going." So they started running away, and then the men of Israel and Judah started attacking the Israelites. And it's kind of gory, but the bodies were strewn all along the road. And then Saul goes to Abner, which is his cousin and also the commander of Saul's army, and he asks about David. He said, "Who is this young man that just seemed to have come out of nowhere that literally just defeated Goliath?" Abner brought David to Saul, and Saul literally had Goliath's head in his hand, and Saul asked to be told about his father. So Saul asked David about his father, and he told him his father's name was Jesse, and that's kind of the end of this chapter. So there's a lot that happened, but not a lot at the same time. And there's so much more that goes into David's story as well. There's a whole sin that David commits and all of that type of stuff too, but we're not going to really get into that today because we're focusing on the leadership part, which there is so much to learn from the faults and sins of people, but that's not what we're going to focus on today, but we can get into that a different time. So I specifically wanted to share the story of David and Goliath for some reasons. So I'm going to go over 6 key points from that story that we can kind of remember and think about using in our everyday life as well. So, number one, God uses ordinary people for extraordinary purposes. Sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, I think of that song, I'm Just an Ordinary Girl. I think it's Miley Cyrus who sings it. I don't know. Or Hannah Montana. But I look at myself and I think, okay, I'm just an ordinary girl. What could God want to use me for? And, if you really sit and harp on that, you can get in your head a lot. But I think when we all look at each other, we're all just ordinary people to God. There's no person that is higher up than another person. We're all ordinary people. It's just a matter of who wants to use their skills and talents that God has given them to honor him. And I think that's when it becomes extraordinary. So there's a verse in 1 Samuel 16:7, and at the end of that verse, it says, "People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." So the Lord knew David's heart. The Lord knew that David had a good heart and he wanted to serve him. And so he gave him the strength to be able to defeat Goliath. But Saul and all of the Philistines and everybody else looked at David and saw this small shepherd boy and thought, there's no way he could do this. So, number one, God uses ordinary people for extraordinary purposes. Number two, faith is greater than fear. In 1 Samuel 17:37, it says, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." Let's think about what David was doing in the fields. He was protecting his sheep from lions and from bears. If I ever saw a bear or a lion in the wild, I would run for the hills, except I think with bears, you're not supposed to run. I actually don't remember. I forget if you're supposed to run or if you're supposed to stay still. This is so random, but every time I think of a bear, I always think of there's a SpongeBob episode where they're getting attacked by, I think it's like a sea bear, and they just draw a circle around themselves and they're protected. And somewhere I thought I heard if you stand still and don't make any noise, the bear won't get you. But then also maybe you're supposed to make a lot of loud noise. I cannot remember, but I live in Arizona and there's no bears or lions roaming around. But anyways, the point is David was constantly fighting off bears and lions. And if the Lord can keep him safe in that, he could help him defeat this one man. So, number two, faith is greater than fear. Number three, don't let others define your destiny. If David would have listened to other people and let them get in his head about him being not capable of doing this, then he never would have done it. This story never would have been in the Bible. I would never be here speaking about it. And so it can be that one decision that you decide to act boldly or courageously in that could truly change the trajectory of your life and so many more lives to come. I don't know if you guys ever think about the decisions that you make, and there's so many decisions we make that are so trivial and small, but there's also decisions where sometimes I think, man, what if I would have chose to go to a different college, or what if I would have chose to move to this state? My life would have been completely different. And sometimes it's overwhelming because you think, oh my gosh, how do I make the right decision? But then I think about those decisions that I almost didn't make, and then I did, and I think about the domino effect that it has had on my life and other people. For example, I have mentioned this a while ago, but back in, oh man, I don't even remember what year it was. It was years ago, at least 3 years ago. I had started up a hiking group through my church, and I had it for years and years, and I met so many cool people. And then I had done a small group at one point with that group, and then we've kind of been on and off. And then just earlier this year, I stopped the hiking group just because I felt led to stop it, and I took a break for the summer, and then now we're back up in a small group, but it's a whole new group of people, but I have some true people that are still in the group, which is so cool. Anyways, My friend had wrote me a letter for my birthday, and she wrote such a sweet note, and she said, it's so crazy to think how we started our friendship back in the hiking group. And I forget what she said. It was so sweet, and I'm going to butcher it, but she was basically saying how we met back in the hiking group, and it's so cool to see how far we've come now through small groups and just being so integrated in each other's lives. And I was just thinking, man, if I did not take that step to make this group, I wouldn't know all of these people, which is so cool. So don't let other people define your destiny. Number 4, preparation happens in private before public victory. When I was reviewing this line stood out to me so much because I think so much today, and I'm so guilty of it as well, in social media, especially, or on the news or whatever you watch. You see of all of these victories, all of these amazing things that people are doing. You look at athletes on the TV and you think, man, it must be so cool to have their job. They just get up and go do their little workouts and they're not little workouts, sorry, I should not say that. I know that it's a lot of work. I could not probably withstand 10 minutes of any type of professional athlete workout. But they go do their workouts, or we look on social media and we look at influencers or Christian people and we think, man, their lives are so cool. They just get to go get up and do this every day, but they definitely worked for that. And some people do stumble across fame and people are gifted with certain talents. But even if you do have a minute of fame or whatever, or you are gifted with an ability, you have to continue to work on that and continue to prepare. And there's so many hours that go into training physically, mentally, emotionally to get to where all of these people are now. And I think that we always have to remember that. And sometimes whenever I'm getting down on myself and I think, what am I even doing with my life? Or all these people are doing all these things and this is what I'm doing, then I really have to stop and think, okay, have I been spending time in the Word? Why am I getting so consumed by what other people are doing? I need to focus on my lane. And I need to remember that I can't just randomly have these amazing things happen to me. I have to put in the work, and first and foremost, I have to be seeking Jesus. It is so dang loud. Guys, my patience is really being tested right now because they're using their leaf blowers outside, and this is one of the only times I have to record the podcast, and I need to be patient and really hope that this is not affecting the sound. Okay, we're going to keep going and hope for the best. So, number 4 was preparation happens in private before public victory. Number 5, we're almost done. We have 6 points. The battle belongs to the Lord. In 1 Samuel 17:47, it says, "It is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's." So, in the story of David, God gave him the courage and the boldness to go and stand up and fight against a Goliath. Would a stone necessarily usually knock down a giant? Probably not. Maybe if you hit it in the right exact spot, that's just cool and how you know it's all from God. So just remembering that the battle is not ours, it belongs to the Lord. I have to constantly remind myself this in the area of my health because, as I've shared plenty of times, I've struggled with a lot of health issues since I was 19 or so, in and out of doctors, spending lots of money, trying different diets and supplements and all the fun things. And before, I would always rely solely on the doctors and the supplements and diets to fix me. And then it just got me in such a big hole. And I realized, okay, I need to pray first. Like that was my number one thing. Pray first, pray first, pray first, pray first, pray first. And I think it's cool because God does give us doctors and supplements and stuff like that as resources and tools. But we do have to remember that God is our ultimate healer overall. And so I really have to remember that all the time, especially on those days when I'm not feeling well. Like today, I'm feeling pretty good, but earlier this week I had a couple days where I was not feeling good, and my first thoughts are, oh my gosh, why am I always sick? Why does this always happen to me? And I have to remember that this is not my human battle because I cannot I cannot do it on my own, but this is the Lord's battle, and I have to just pray that He will give me the strength to get through, because with my own human strength, I will not make it through. So, number 5, the battle belongs to the Lord. Number 6, God gets the glory, not us. So in 1 Samuel 17:46, towards the end of the verse, it says, "The whole world will know that there is a God in Israel." Because of all of this, God wanted to show a sign of, okay, this is something that I'm going to do so that the whole world will know that I am here in Israel. So remembering that God gets the glory, not us, is such a big thing. I think anytime we have an accomplishment or we do something really big, we have to remember, man, God got me through this. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced having a really big goal and then you accomplish it and you are so proud of yourself. And then after just a little bit, you're like, wow, well, I guess that's it. I kind of thought I would feel different. I've felt that way before, and I truly believe it's because we were never supposed to have the glory, but God was supposed to have the glory. And so I think it's just an interesting thing to think about. So I'm going to end there because I don't think that they're ever going to finish the work that they're doing outside. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Next week, we're going to be talking about the leader Nehemiah. So he's not talked about as much as Moses and David. So I'm excited to get into his story a little bit. But thank you so much for joining. I love all of you that have been listening. So please subscribe and comment and, I don't know, share with a friend. But anyways, I'm sorry for the noise. Have a great rest of your day.